Hello, everyone. Good morning. I know I started the time for the live like two or three different times. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so this is I want to go ahead and discuss basically what's really going on with um the government stopping the uterus, right? They're trying to force people to have children. Hold on. And we're going to talk about the woman that is on a ventilator that is already deceased and she is pregnant. So, okay. So this woman is she's brain dead and she is forced to be kept alive because of the abortion ban. Her name is Adriana Smith. She is a mother already to I think her son is, I'll say, between the ages 5 and 6. And she basically has um gone through where the family is not sure. They're trying to, they said that they wanted to make that decision because of the things that can be done towards the child. They don't know if the child is going to come out with cerebral palsy. They don't know if, hold on. Um, of that nature. So I want to go over to Georgia. So under the Georgia law, it is called Georgia's fetal personhood law, means a pregnant woman must stay on life support. And I want y'all to see this. When they banned the abortion law, they made a woman, and they also, we're going to get into them passing the law for if you are going through a miscarriage, in order to save your life, you really going to have a fetus growing inside of your uterus. And they passed a law like they can't terminate a pregnancy. So if you having a, this is the wrong time to get pregnant, because if you are pregnant now and you about to give birth, that's fine. But if you have um we're gonna get into it. Like, let's say you need to have a miscarriage or a stillbirth, and to save your life from the infection, they're not trying to terminate a pregnancy. Um, so it says by the time she ended up at the Georgia Hospital Emergency Complications, 30-year-old 30-year-old Atlanta nurse Adriana Smith was almost 9 weeks pregnant. Her condition, which included multiple blood clots, deteriorated as doctors tried to save her life. Smith's mother, April Newart, told Atlanta T. So basically, she was almost 9 weeks pregnant. So my thing is, you're saving a baby that is 9 weeks. So you're telling me we don't know if the baby going to have his 10 toes. We don't know if the baby's going to have their 10 fingers. We don't know if they're going to have an extra toe fingers or if they can move that. You are saving a child on a ventilator that could give a woman who's already declared deceased by the doctor. You're taking all these rooms up for the next 8.5 months to have a child because you feel like you can make the decision to basically let this child have life. They said a CT scan and she had blood clots in her head. So they had asked me if they could do a procedure to relieve them. And I said yes. And then they called me back and said that they couldn't do it. She said doctors declared Smith brain dead and put her on life support without consulting her. It's torture for me, Newark said. I come here and I see my daughter breathing by the ventilator, but she's not there. That was more than 3 months ago. Smith is still pregnant. I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy, but what I'm saying is we should have a choice. Um, basically Emory Healthcare said that they were told if they were to do anything because of the abortion law, that they would be charged. Okay. And this is very, very sad for a mother to experience. You're at the hospital, you're seeing your child on a ventilator. You already know that they're deceased. It's nothing you can do. So this is torturing to the mother because she has to go see her child sleeping there. Now she is still under the thing, and they were saying they could detect heartbeat 6 weeks into the pregnancy. First of all, why? Here's my issue. Some of these doctors don't care about Black women health during pregnancy. Um, and they know they have health issues and they don't care. So they're not doing what's best for the baby. They're doing what's best for them. I want to get into, excuse me, y'all, the miscarriages of women um, that were arrested for miscarriages. And this has been going on for a while in the United States. Okay. This has been going on um, after COVID 2021. So let me give you a diagnostics, really COVID. So let me give you a story about me. I don't really share this story too much. I was supposed to be a mother of two. I was supposed to have a 5-year-old son and my second child. 4 months into my pregnancy, I had found out that my son, they said that the court was wrapping around my son. They wanted me to go to my appointment to check his heart rates because when I told my doctor, I said, listen, I have a fibroid. I did some research to where I believe the fibroid was growing to press down on my son. And when I told, she said, well, no, the fibroid's still same. I say something is wrong because this pregnancy is hard for me. I've never had a pregnancy. This I mean my second time, but my first time I didn't have a pregnancy like this. So as I went, they went to check everything, and everything was fine. So when I basically the what happened was I went back for my appointment to listen for a heartbeat. There was no heartbeat. We went into the sonogram room to check the ultrasound. She said there wasn't one, and I had to have and I was hysterically crying because I just lost my mother. So when I lost my mom, I realized I was pregnant. That gave me something, okay? And I found out I had my baby didn't have a heartbeat. Went to the doctor, they checked and didn't have a heartbeat. I had a stillborn by 4:45 p.m. that day. My son would his name was going to be Jordan. Jordan would have lived to be 5 as of July. No, I'm sorry, November, if I would have went completely term. And the conversation with my sister had was if he was to be on a ventilator, he would have had some issues um, because if he was to, they would have woke him up. He would have been on a ventilator majority of his life. He would have had some health issues. And we were saying, he probably would have had cerebral palsy and things like that. And you guys got to understand and start to take away things, Medicaid and stuff like that to help children who are going through health issues that are disabled in some form. So when I had my procedure, it was very traumatizing. I had to have a pill to push the child out because if they didn't, I was going to have an infection. So I had to push him out. He wasn't breathing anything, and basically, like after that, um, I was getting food stamps at the time because around COVID, everybody could get the food stamps, everybody could get the, disability if you worked around that time, and I was still getting it. So I get a letter in the mail from Georgia, from the Department of Children's Services, Family and Services, which is food stamps and stuff, right? I get a letter after this traumatization, right? And I remember my caseworker was like, he was a man and he was a gay man. He say, listen, he say, I know you just had a procedure and I'm sorry about your loss. He said, I'm going to be straight up with you. They're going to ask you a question and I know it's going to bother you. And the reason we asking this question is because of the fact that that's what is going on with the government. I got a letter. I said, okay, fine. He didn't tell me what the question was. He just said that I'm going to feel some way about it. I got a letter in the mail from the government. And they say, in behold, I'll never forget this letter. It pissed me off. I ripped that shit up and burned it. Um, we're sending you a letter to confirm that if you had a stillbirth or miscarriage, because we want to know, did you have an abortion? And this is on behalf of the governor of Georgia and the president of the United States, Donald Trump. I didn't react to it, and I replied. I said, you as the government can access anything in the world, anything you want to know, bank records, phone records, all of that. And for once, you guys did not do that. So I saw a lot of families saying that a married couple said that they had a stillbirth. This woman was trying so hard to have children. She finally got pregnant. Going into months into her pregnancy, the doctors already told her she probably would not be able to, that, she probably wouldn't be able to have it, but they don't want her to have a high risk pregnancy, right? Going into it, she had a miscarriage. She got a letter in the mail, behalf of her governor and the president, that they wanted to make sure that her and her husband didn't go have an abortion. And the reason why they did that, nuts to hold, behold and lo, there's a black woman who was pardoned by Trump that is now saying people are getting abortions instead of saying people are having miscarriages. And it seems like to me that people that have stillborns and miscarriages are being blamed for abortions because they want people to, she believes that women, black women of all, should continue to have babies. Instead of having saying, let's have the proper care to make sure these babies are born healthy. Let's make sure the doctors are listening in to the patients. Let's make sure if you want black women to have that, you need to make sure that there is childcare, things that are needed. So this happened in 2015. No. Let's go to the NBC. We're not gonna talk to that one. So this happened during Roe Wade. So a woman was arrested after miscarriage in Georgia draws fear and anger. Experts say the arrest is part of a pattern of criminalizing pregnancy that has accelerated the fall of Roe versus Wade. This happened in 2025 of April. This happened last year. Her name is Selena Maria Chandler Scott. She was transported to a hospital, but a witness reported that she had placed that fetal remains in a dumpster. When police investigated, they recovered the remains, and Chandler Scott was charged to conceal the death of another person and abandoning the dead body. Charges were immediately dropped. An autopsy determined Chandler Scott had had a natural miscarriage at around 19 weeks, and the fetus was non-viable. So imagine she would have went to the hospital, and they probably would have arrested her. Shayla Scott arrest came at a time when a growing number of women are facing pregnancy-related prosecutions in which the fetus is treated as a person with legal rights. Her experience raises troubling questions about miscarriage that happens in states with strict abortion laws. Women health advocates said, how should remains be disposed of? Who gets to decide? Georgia 6 weeks abortion ban, the Living Infants Fairness and Equality Act provides any fetus with a heartbeat legally recognition under the law. Through the push for fetal personhood, Provisions like this predates the 2022 Dobbs decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. Experts say it had intensified since. Roughly 2,000 personhood bills have been introduced in the first 3 months of the year, according to the Gut Matcher Institution, a research organization that supports reproductive rights. So we're gonna go in and someone said that 10 to 20% of known pregnancy end in miscarriage, most often in the first trimester. If what comes out of you in a miscarriage is a dead human body, you can't abandon it. You can't put it in the trash. You must flush it down the toilet. Flush it down the toilet, they say. Most people experiencing miscarriages are so promptly committing crimes in Georgia. Legal experts have drawn comparisons between Chandler Scott's arrest and that of Brittany Watts, a 34-year-old woman in Ohio who was charged with the abuse of the court after her miscarriage in 2023, though the charges were later dropped. In January, she filed a lawsuit against the city and hospitals where she sought care. Neither the hospital nor the police responded to the request of the comment, but the hospital filed a response in court denying wrongdoing. The case is still pending. In an interview last year, Watt said she feared a similar arrest would happen again. As the old saying goes, history repeats itself. I don't want it to happen in this case. Okay. So she was arrested because they feel like you should have the baby. So you telling me a fetus need to be floating in the sewer water? That's worse as throwing it in the trash. Let's just be honest. And I suggest and feel like it should have a proper burial. Okay. Now let me see. But they just passed the law. Okay. So maternal child stillbirth into law on July 12th clarifies that existing funding through the Maternal Child Care Services Block Grant can be used for stillbirth prevention activities. This bill aims to address the high rate of stillbirth in the United States, particularly Black women. Let me post this. The law that clarifies the funding through the Maternal Health and Services Block Grant can be used for stillbirth prevention. So basically, they're saying that um, you can keep, they're trying to find a long term solution to keep the stillborn. Let's see, new law passed on women not having an abortion to save her life. Okay. Texas had passed this bill in other states as well. Okay. Hold on. Share my screen. Texas bill passed to aim to clarify the exceptions to the state abortion ban, specifically answering and addressing when doctors can perform abortions to save a pregnant woman's life. The law prohibits abortion unless a pregnant woman's life is at risk of not performing the abortion could cause a substantial impairment of a major body function. The bill clarified the doctors are not required to delay or alter withholding, saving medical treatment to preserve the life of the fetus. We don't want women's lives to be destroyed because their bodies have been severely impaired. Allow doctors to, but then they just passed a whole law with the yep, here it is. They passed a whole law yesterday. They haven't pulled it up what it's going to be. But if you are a woman who is pregnant and the doctor saying it's you or that baby, you can't do it. So you just have to be you and let the baby live. So the baby can have a chance at life. The thing is, they made us believe, and we're just going to be blunt honest. The government made us believe that trans was a problem, and it's really the government. Trans was never the problem. Trans was never the problem. It's the government. And it's men like this who are making these laws. And you gotta understand, now I've been told y'all that man was pedo and had his pedo ring of friends in that office. And y'all have to understand this. He wants people to have children. They have stopped. Um, Hold on. And y'all not looking at why they starting the age of government assistance, right, for any child, right? So the child can be a baby, but after that, they are changing it to the child has to be from the age 7 to 18, and you cannot get any government assistance, meaning food stamps and all of that stuff, right? This man has been trying to stop education. This man has been trying to stop girls and people get remind you going to get an education at Job Corps to get their, their degrees or whatever is needed to help them. He stopped that and get a trade. This man has said 11 to 18, right? 7 to 18. Okay. So you got to understand, if they could stop the assistance with 7 to 18, what do you think they're trying to do with young girls? Okay. So let's get into it. They don't want young girls to get a degree, but they want them to push out babies. Okay. They do not want them to do that. They don't want them to have an education, none of that. And I told y'all about the project 2025. That wasn't in the synopsis of what they wanted. That was not for what they wanted. I saw somebody post something saying that, hold on, basically saying that as long as she walked across that stage and got her degree, that's what it is. My bad, to my AirPod out. Her baby, at least her baby has a chance to live a life. At least her baby is breathing. At least she had her baby. And that's just not the case for most black girls. They don't have um a support system like she does. Hold on, here we go. Shout out to Nosy Bystander.
Now, the article comes out of the New York Times and it stated that the White House has been hearing out a course of ideas in recent weeks for persuading Americans to get married and have more children. The article goes on to say that the Trump administration will embrace a new cultural agenda pushed by many of its allies on the right to reverse declining birth rates and push conservative family values. Now, one proposal shared with AIDS would reserve 30% of scholarships for the Fulbright program, which is a prestigious government backed international fellowship for applicants who are married or have children. Now, another program will give out $5,000 called Baby Bonus for every American mother after delivery. Now, the third program calls for the government to fund programs that educate women on their menstrual cycles, in part so that they can better understand when they are ovulating and be able to conceive. Now, individuals under the condition of anonymity spoke with the New York Times and stated that Elon Musk, JD Vance, policymakers, and White House aides have been meeting at the White House to discuss this birth rate phenomenon thing. Now, the most ridiculous part of this story is what they propose to give to mothers who have six or more children. According to the New York Times, they stated that women with six or more children should receive a National Medal of Motherhood. Shout out to women who have six or more children. My mama definitely do. But I know, well, y'all not trying to give medals out here for people hunching. Oh, baby, because I know a setup when I see one. What you mean the government trying to pay us to have?
That there is. That there is. Hold on. Here y'all go.
All right, y'all. So, as a super young teen mom, I don't know why society just automatically assumes that we abuse the government assistance. So to answer any questions, no, I am not on welfare. No, I do not use your taxes. No, I do not get food stamps. I operate a business. I am the caregiver to my disabled husband. I babysit. I hustle by doing this, and this. But y'all, government assistance is for those who need assistance. Also known as teenagers who can't work. But no, I was not on any government assistance the entire time I lived in my parents' house. So me personally, there was no welfare, there was no food stamps, I did not have a medical card. I was on my dad's medical insurance. My daughter, however, was not. She got a state Medicaid card. And the reason she was not covered under my dad's was because I would have had to give custody of my child up, and that wasn't happening. Even at 13, it wasn't happening.
Okay. So, here go another one.
Good morning, everybody. It's Sonia from El Paso, and Sonia's still from El Paso. Remember to follow me on both pages because one might get locked down, okay? Here's your morning coffee. Let's go. Let's have at it. So, the thing that I want to touch on right now is this thing about the White House looking to have women have more kids. The White House is pushing for more babies to be born. Yes, they are. Y'all, I have seen every single season of Handmaid's Tale. Oh, that's just, if you haven't watched it, just watch the first episode, okay? And you're going to get the drift, okay? And seriously, y'all, they want us to have more babies. Well, they want y'all to have more babies because I ain't having no more babies. But then they want to make cuts to Medicaid. They want to have cuts to the public education system. They want to make cuts to children's cancer research. They want to make cuts to, oh my God, everything, right? But they want to give you $5,000 as a baby bonus. Like how much? Those of you that have babies, how much is $5,000 going to take you? How far?
Nowhere.
Because I know that special formula costs $50 a week.
Formula. When I had my son, it was $20. Formula has tripled, double, from 30 Some formula is $50, $60. And with what's going on now, formula is probably $60 to $80, $90.
So let's just put that there. Okay, so why are they trying to make women have more kids? We don't want more kids. We are not baby factories, y'all. And for you women that are on board with that, jump off the train. Jump off the train, please, because you are better than that. You are here for so much more than just making babies. Y'all got brains. Y'all got ideas. Y'all got ambition. Y'all have hopes. Y'all have all this stuff inside of you, and you want to give that up to make more babies? More babies? Like, I made 4. I gave to society. I gave 4 beautiful babies. That's all they getting from me. I'm not gonna be forced to have any more, and you shouldn't be forced to have any more, and you shouldn't be coerced to have any more. Don't have any more than you want to have. Have what you want to have, no more, no less. Simple. My God. And then Republicans try to make cuts in Medicaid. Like, how, do y'all see the irony in all that? Do y'all see the fuckery in all that? Well, it is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to engage now. I just wanted to pop on real quick and give you your coffee so you can start your day, because you know I make my coffee nice and strong. No sugar, no sugar. So MAGA, my coffee is slowly weaning you off of the Kool-Aid, okay? The more you take my coffee, the more you're here with me. I might just say something that might just turn on that light bulb, okay?
Okay. Let's go into stop sharing. I'm gonna get some more other people's stuff.
So I'm just over here drinking my water.
Hold on, here we go.
Nobody wants
families.
children. Nobody wants children. The society is not structured for it.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at places like Denmark, it's like one of the happiest places in the world, okay?
Yeah.
They get 18 months of paid paternity and maternity leave. Both mother and father get paid 18 months. And they can take that all at once. They can split it up. They can work for, or be home for 8 months and go back to work and then take it all later. They just have to take it within, I think, the first 5 years of the baby's life.
Right.
There's a difference in the societal standard, which is so funny to me because America is so traditional and values or whatever. And yet we're not structured for families at all. We are not wanting people to make babies. We're not encouraging them to make babies.
No.
And that is really sad to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do truly want children, but they don't see how they can do it financially. They don't see how they can do it in any capacity because there's no longer a village setting. It was not just all on mom or all on dad or like single parents. I don't even know. And so it's like you're giving people impossibilities that seem unsurmountable. So why do you think they would want to bring children into the world? Nobody wants
families.
children.
No.
So she basically has a point. We're gonna show this man what he got to say right now.
Why is the U.S. experiencing such a significant drop in birth rate? 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, life expectancy wasn't too high and kids dropped off at a pretty good rate. Unclean water, unclean food, no vaccines. Along come the 1900s. Here in the U.S., after World War II, you could have a single person with an income that would allow you to buy your house, send kids to college, and continue to climb that ladder. Of course, that came along with the destruction of the multi-generational home and a lot of emphasis on moms doing pretty much everything at home and everything child rearing / parenting by themselves. Now the last generation of two is recognizing that two incomes might not be enough to afford the home, get you out of debt from college, let alone get you anywhere close to comfortably raising even one kid. So let's just say a couple nowadays wants to have a kid and a female gets pregnant. They choose to have a kid. The woman does so at the risk to her own body, now particular risk in some states where it can be a life or death matter.
Hold on, y'all.
Seriously, I mean it. Like right now in the Supreme Court, they're arguing a case that's been brought forth by Idaho where you can try and decide how much damage, how many organs a woman can lose before emergency care needs to be rendered to still comply with EMTALA, a law that governs who and how things should be treated in the emergency room. And for this couple, if they get through the pregnancy and the woman is not harmed physically, she still will have that baby at the detriment of her career because, again, both of them are likely going to have to work to afford the house and to afford the kid and afford college and all those kind of things that they may want to go through for their kid. And for families not so fortunate to even be able to consider buying a house or sending their kid to college, but just wanting to feed them, well, if you're in tough financial shape, well, boy, our country does nothing for you. No paid maternity leave, no universal child care, no support in helping raise that kid in a way that will allow a family to be comfortable. And yet conservatives in the GOP, which are decrying the lower birth weight, are the exact same party that are actively working at reducing benefits for moms and babies, SNAP and WIC, universal child care again, no way. Healthcare costs to be covered, no way. Have a kid, but then you deal with that enormous expense in a world where you can't even make ends meet. I think we also forgot to mention that women who work here in the U.S. get paid a percentage of what men get paid. They deal with a lot more harassment. And again, having a child is for sure.
Someone in the comments, this is what's been going on, y'all. So I'm gonna put it to you. Someone said, I have a really good job, but they said they would fire me if I got pregnant, refused to cover maternity leave, so I got my tubes tied because I couldn't take that risk with the student loans I had. Do y'all not know that there are jobs that people work for that do not have benefits? They don't have overtime. They don't have PTO. They don't have sick time, sick paid off, FMLA, leave of absence, none of that. None of that. There's not even overtime anymore. You get a certain amount of overtime and that's it. They have changed the law for overtime.
Sure, likely to harm their career path compared to the male counterparts.
Hold on, y'all, because oh my goodness, thank you.
So in a country where societal factors, legal factors, political factors, all are kind of stacked against women and for sure choosing to have a child.
He's not lying. I want y'all to pay attention to how political parties are trying to play into religion too when it comes to giving birth in other states of matter. Okay, because a lot of women were having conversation and arguments with trans instead of having a conversation that needs to be talked about because trans don't have nothing to do with this.
Thank God.
She ain't lying.
Thank God.
There are a lot of young women I have seen who are not teen moms. The rate of teen moms have dropped tremendously. And now he wants to shut down these colleges, if you pay attention, because it's more people going to college than it is having children. Here we go. We're going to listen to what he's saying.
Well, it worked. Since 2007, we got a decline in 18-year-olds going to college. Yes, sir. Y'all know colleges started closing last year, right? Yeah, a whole lot of colleges started closing. Because what you got now since 2007, you got a decline in babies. Whether it be feminism, of course that. Women chasing careers, of course that, which ties into a lot of feminism. Of course that. A lot of men that wanted their careers too. Oh no, we can't have that baby. I'm just saying. And you know we have to involve our gang members. Because, you know, gangs shooting at each other, a bunch of kids die. All the fucking time, nigga. Oh yeah, we can't forget y'all. These kids never had a chance. I'm just saying. But what we gonna have here is when you got a decline in 18-year-olds going in, you're gonna have a decline of people graduating to go fill jobs, which is gonna lower the economy. I'm just saying, it's gonna affect the economy. They said not even the influx of people that's coming here can help the numbers that we had. Yeah, our numbers are dwindling fast. Why do you think people keep saying?
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it does, but I think it has the factor of the things I've noticed. A lot of these kids now going to college. It has changed, and they're getting a degree because and to focus on a career because it has affected. And let's be honest, a lot of these kids are seeing the effects that their parents have that they don't want children. They don't want children. One is enough if you got one. That's it. Would they like more? Yeah, but the way it's going, you can't afford it. Let's listen to what she had to say. Oh, she's saying, I'm hitting the wrong screen.
Why aren't millennials having kids? America's birth rate just hit an all-time low.
The video was so spot on. It sounds crazy, but I would not have been able to raise my child had I not gone to college. I don't mean like graduate college. I mean like be in college. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks before my freshman semester of college, and so I went in with a very determined mindset, like, okay, like I know what I gotta do. I'm gonna just kick butt. I was getting financial aid because I was like poor single college mom. You get a surplus of financial aid and scholarships. You get a refund after what's been paid for your tuition and fees. I was getting back $5,000 every single semester. I worked like freaking crazy every semester to apply for as many scholarships as I qualified for. It was an income-based childcare and it wasn't full day, so I had a few hours to squeeze in my classes through that time and then to work a few hours, and then like 2 o'clock my day was done. And eventually they decided to disqualify me because they counted all of my tuition and scholarships as income. I was like, well, just count the refund. And they said, no, all of it. You make like $40,000, you're out. I lived with my 80 and 90-year-old grandparents, and so they supported the household and everything that we needed. I talk a lot about child support, but for the first year that made
Oh my gosh. I didn't ask you to connect to that. Hold on, y'all. Let me go here. Okay. My bad. I don't know why my headphone keep trying to connect.
year that Mason was born, we did not receive child support. And for the first 3 years, we received minimum wage child support, which hashes out to about $50 a week. Grandparents and I are super close, and they were super proud that I was going to school. So they were like, okay, we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. You're in school. You're doing great things. Had I not been doing great things, had I not been going to school, I don't know what I would have been able to do. Going to college and getting scholarships was the way that I was able to take care of me and my child.
Okay. I want to go. Let me see what she had to say, child.
I have so many questions because the math is not mathing for me. All right, I'm gonna try and make this as sweet and short and simple as possible. I keep getting fed these videos on my FYP saying that the birth rates are at an all-time low and millennials are to blame. We are ruining America. We are destroying the world. We are fucking shit up. We've been fucking shit up ever since we came into existence because we're not having babies. But I have a theory, and I need my fellow millennials to back me up on this one because I'm sure that you remember it.
I'm a back her up.
Did anyone ever stop to think that maybe millennials are not having babies right now because we had the teen pregnancy epidemic?
Yep. It was a big teen pregnancy epidemic growing up. I remember, let me tell you something. I grew up, majority of the girls, 2 or 3 out of them were teen parents. I've known about, no, I take that back. I know about 4 to 5 teen parents who kids have just now graduated and are not parents. Maybe one. The rest of them are not parents. They're about near the same age as we are. They're in their 20s. They're getting ready to be in their 20s. Teen parents, remind you, I'm not afraid to share my age. I'm 37. I'll be 37 in October. I'm 36. The number of teen parents we had, their children are now in their early 20s. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. Because some had them at 14 to 13 to 15. Yes, you heard the 8, me say it right. So yeah, they're about to be grown. Yeah.
Back then, they labeled it as an epidemic. Like, it wasn't just like a few here and there. It was an epidemic. It was nationwide. It was on the news. It was talked about in school. It was definitely talked about a lot in my.
It was talked about in schools. That's when we had the sex ed classes, and if y'all remember, back then, the churches would have it for the teens when they show about catching STDs, all the different forms of STDs, pictures of what it looked like if you got warts on your area. Yeah, it was a big epidemic. Let me tell you something. I'll never forget. It was the summertime. My cousin had just graduated, and I had just entered like my first and second year of high school. And it's so crazy because like she was getting ready to graduate, like her third to last year in high school. I had entered high school. We're not that far apart from each other. She's like 40 now, so we're not that far. And our parents are very old school. So the epidemic was so huge that a lot of people was getting pregnant and going to different school programs just to get their GED because they were pregnant. Do you not know my auntie, my great aunt called her mom, which is my mom's cousin, and said, listen, the church down the street is having something for the girls, okay? They're having something for the teenagers. Instead of them hanging out, it was the summertime, we were getting ready to hang out. We didn't know what to do. Instead of them hanging out, why don't we go ahead and let them go? Because I'll never forget, it was that they had just graduated, and this girl that had just graduated with them had passed away, and that was the summertime, like 2-3 weeks after graduation. Rest in peace to her. She got killed in a head-on collision. And, they would talk about how they missed her. It was me, my 2 cousins, and a couple other people. So we rode in the car. They called my mom and told her we'll pick her up, have her at the house. We'll go ahead and just have the girls ride from there. Man, when I tell you we went there, we sat down. They had everybody sit close in the pew. When I say these ladies had pictures, and they had one woman talking about how she knew somebody that was HIV positive. They talked about chlamydia. They had everything laid down. But they were given sexual education in middle school when I was growing up.
My home, and MTV made a fucking show about it. Because so many young millennials were having so many babies. Like, doesn't that compensate? Some of them were just thinking ahead of time. Kudos to you. And listen, this is not me coming for anybody. that had babies early. All right, listen, things happen. I'm not here to judge. You just got to be with your baby sooner. This really just boils down to how the fuck are you to blame the same generation for having too many babies early on and then not having enough babies later on? Like, my only takeaway from this whole thing is that millennials can't do jack shit right. Like, that's the only thing that I fucking take away from this. Millennials are not really millennials. We are the scapegoat generation. That is our real name. All right? I'm just waiting on the article to come out from corporate America to say, yeah, we could have definitely had zoos with dinosaurs in them. You know, little Billy and Susie could have been going to the zoo to see T-Rex and Stegosaurus. If only millennials didn't have this weird gravitational pull on the earth. We weren't even around back then, but you know what? Something about our aura was implanted into the soil of early earth that attracted the meteor that came down and destroyed all the dinosaurs. That's the next article that I'm waiting on. It sounds ridiculous and stupid.
So yeah, millennials, we're just some of them are now just having babies. We understand that one is enough. One is enough. Let me play this one. I'm play one more video and then we'll get into.
Hang on. Wait a minute. You know what? Holy smokes. This is the bad place. Hang on. Wait a minute. You know what? Holy smokes. This is the bad...
Hold on, here we go.
50% of parents are now saying that this is a huge waste of time and also money. Parents are now telling their children not to go to college. And a lot of this has to do with the cost of school nowadays. Americans are seeing the struggling, mounting student loan debt that comes with going to college. Did you know that the astounding price tag on 1 year of college is now $30?
Yeah, a lot of parents are children that they rather their kids go on scholarships or they rather their children to do trade schools to help with their career. Let me stop sharing. We'll be back onto it. Social media has made ways for people to make money. I know y'all saw Official M. She just graduated from, I think, for nursing. And people her age, they're rushing them instead of getting an education. They want them to have babies. We, the parents, are saying, no, you get your education. Hold on. It's I don't know if I can find it on here, but it was one person. She was being dragged on threads because, let me see if I can go to my threads. I want to show y'all this. And I've been told y'all, we don't mind you dragging nobody like Phaedra. But when you try to drag people into having children, that is crazy. I think she took herself off because, yeah. Hold on, I'm finna find it. I didn't even know she was going to get tests, but I'm finna find out. I think she took it down, y'all. Let me keep going. And she's pushing black women to have babies, and a lot of black women are saying that they do not want to have children. And I feel like people need to let that go. If your president, your friend, your president, hey Terry, thank you, is not giving the finances that's needed, the government, we're not giving your children, giving you guys children. Here we go. Okay, she shared this. This is no shade to her. So it said we can have careers and our children. Stop letting the enemy trick you into aborting your future. Right? Let's go to the comments. No, let me click on it here. Okay, let's go to the comments. Someone say, let's be real here. Doing lashes isn't a career. Someone say they graduated with their child. Someone say people are so miserable. How have you skipped the extra message to best someone who's clearly making the best out of her situation? This accomplishment for her because of her situation. She made her bed and she's laying in them fresh sheets, and she should leave her alone. Pro women rights. Good for this young lady that she wanted this baby and finished school, but it's not everyone's choice. Forcing women to have rapist babies, forcing babies to be born into dangerous, unstable homes, who can't afford to take care of them, forcing clinical dead women to be kept alive in the hospital for 6 months to birth a baby, and forcing that family to pay the medical bills. What kind of Handmaid's Tale BS is this? The rest of the free world is appalled by this. And I agree with her. Two wrongs don't make it right. Besides the low rate of women being raped and having a kid, if you want to do adult business, you get adult consequences. 2025, enough internet for most kids who know what sex is to know is to bring a child. Baby, if you don't want a kid, don't do the number one thing that precedes kids. It's so simple. Reference to a lady who was born with the with the baby. They can hold that baby and think of it as mother instead of burying both. Bills is bills forever. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to look into how that child being born like that will have issues. Okay? So they were arguing back and forth. So she's making the eating efforts while holding an infant. Finishing high school is an accomplishment. It's an expectation. Congratulations. But when our black girls in the black community start valuing family over self-accomplishments, is there anything the young black women in our race care about? It's not about them. The generation of black women only care about themselves, nothing bigger than themselves, nothing like my mother and grandma generation. So this person, I agree, says stop blaming black women and blame black history. We have been attacked at every corner to prevent a good life. Having a man is not the say all. Our biggest journey is loving ourselves enough to not abort ourselves. We are healing, and I'm proud of us, women of color. For better or worse, we are here surviving. Someone said abortion is healthcare, not murder. I'm glad she was able to graduate, but ladies, no. Please wait. Also, if you decide to abort, that's your business. So somebody say, do you approve that neck hanging like that? Abortions are necessary when unfit parents are involved. I don't do too much judging on people having kids or married, but Republicans lie on themselves when they mention 70% of black kids being born out of wedlock, then oppose an abortion at the same time. How can you be both the problem and the solution? Mental health. Okay. Someone says she's not promoting having a child in school. She's saying even though she really is. Someone says some women have mental, physical, and financial capacity to support a child and grow her career, and others don't. Both types exist and are valid. Stop trying to make women. Y'all see what he said. Very, very few women have financial support. She ain't the first and won't be the last. Y'all are so negative. Is she married to the baby father though? Still not a flex, sweetie. Calm down. And so, ooh, they say it's not a flex. It's really not. I don't have kids, but I think it's a flex because so many women give up. That saying doesn't actually mean a kid will ruin your life. It actually means that you will struggle real bad. And a lot of women do struggle with their children. They do. We're not gonna act like they don't. They do. They become single mothers. They do it by themselves. The father is not there, and then women are tired of saying, "I'm giving my body and to give a child, but I don't have the support. I don't have the help. So no, I don't want to do this." And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say I'm not mentally prepared for it. It's okay. We need to let men see. The thing that I have a problem with this is you're saying it's a flex, but it's really not, because when she get ready to go to college, who's going to watch the child? Who's going to be there for her? Take it if you so, and this is what I mean by her, and there's no shade. Let me tell you something, Angela. Angela's a good time, honey. She is a good Kiki and a good time. But let's be real here. This is not what it was back then. A lot of parents do, and she acknowledged it too, have issues with their parents. If you care, can you tell your president not to take away daycare and childcare and all that matters of those things? And speaking of the lady that is on what you call it, let me see if I can go to that story. I don't know if you guys remember the story back then when a woman got killed. She had a baby by a football player, and the baby was born with cerebral palsy. Let me see if I can find it. I remember that story. I want to get their names right, and I want to share it. You have Hello. Where you going? Okay. It was oh my God, I gotta think about it. If y'all know who I'm talking about. The mom got killed, and she was in a car. She got shot in a car. And the son had cerebral palsy. And I believe he was a football player. Because okay, Ray Cartwright, that's who it was. Hold on, let me go to that story. I believe okay, we gonna get into this story. He just got released from prison. And he had a hitman that killed his then girlfriend, Sharika Adams. I remember that story. He looked just like Ray and everything. Okay. I'm going to read the story. Because I want y'all to know. Go on here. Because keeping that woman is 9 weeks pregnant now. Remind you, 9 weeks. She's still in the hospital, brain dead. If the mother does it, I always thought the mother didn't get oxygen, that the child does it because they're connected. So imagine how much oxygen that baby is getting. Okay, we finna get into the story. Okay. In November of 1999, 24-year-old Sharika Adams was 8 months pregnant when she and the father of her child, 25-year-old Carolina's Panthers wide receiver Ray Karath, went on a double date. They saw a light night showing of a serial killer flick at the theater. As Ray led Sharika back home to her apartment in his white Ford Expedition, with Sharika falling behind in her black BMW, he unexpectedly slowed down. And then I'm gonna play the call if I can. I think her call when she called 911 for help as well. Hold on, let me sit up. I'm on my bed, y'all. My bad. Then an unknown car pulled up beside her and gunfire rang out. Before the smoke had cleared, Ray was gone and Sharika had been shot multiple times. Okay. I don't know. Let me stop sharing because if I remember correctly, let me see. She wasn't, excuse me. She wasn't able to be saved, but her baby was. Okay. I'm going to see if I can play the audio. If not, we're going to read it. Hold on. Let me share my screen. So, Sharika Adams. Hey! Date of the tape is 11/16/1999. Okay? So we're going to read the call. The time is 31:54, which is 12:06. It says 911 Baker, do you need police, fire, or medic? She says, police, I've been shot. I've been shot. You've been shot. Where you at, ma'am? I'm outside. Listen to me. Listen to me. You're on a wireless phone. I don't know where you are. So tell me where you are, ma'am, and where you at. She says, past Calvary Church, on the Calvary Church. And then it was a question mark. You where? Talk, ma'am. On Ray Road. You're on Ray Road. Where at on Ray Road, ma'am? And she didn't say anything. Ma'am, talk to me. Where you at Ray Road? She said, I don't know. Okay, are you near Calvary Church? I passed it on the left, I think straight. Ma'am, you got to help me help yourself. Where are you at? And she says, Lenox Square Community. I'm in front of it. And then they said, okay, listen to me. You said my Andrew Square, I'm cold. Ma'am, listen to me. My Andrew Square left. He said, listen to me. You're on Ray Road, West Square Community. Okay, tell me one more time. And she spelled it. And she said, yes. Where are you shot at? She said, I don't know. I was driving. You were driving and someone shot you. She said, yes. Did you see the person that shot you? She said she's 8 months pregnant. Okay, ma'am, you're 8 months pregnant. You've been shot. You were at West Square. They said community. He said, okay, ma'am. Then, he called the medic, told her she was shot. They were trying to listen to her. They showed up, I believe. They were trying to find her. Did she say she believed that she said she was shot on her back and her neck and that she believed that he did it. Okay. I really want to play that audio. She had the baby. She was shot 4 times. She had the baby. Let me see if I can hear that audio. And The baby was born. She was 8 months pregnant. The baby was born with some issues. Okay, we're going to play it right here. Okay, I'm going to read this before I play it. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107, 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use prohibited by the copyright statuses that might otherwise be infringing, nonprofit, educational, or purpose use tips and balance in favor of use. I want to say this. This is what happened also when you have a child with a powerful man and a man that has money. Ladies, be careful. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. All right, now we finna play this. Hey, Milo, I'm on live. I'm almost done.
Where are you at? I'm 8 months pregnant. How'd this happen? I was following my baby's daddy, Ray Caruso, the football player. Where's he at? He was in the car in front of me, and he slowed down, and somebody pulled up beside me and did this. And then where'd he go? He just left. I think he did it. I don't know what to think of. Okay.
The incredible 911 call from Sharika Adams back in 1999 after she was shot by an accomplice of former Panthers receiver Ray Caruth, the subject of a 7-part incredible in-depth podcast.
Timeliness of Ray Caruth being in prison.
Okay, so he is y'all can hear me now? Okay. So let me see. Now it was said that he met his son, y'all. When he got out, he met his son. Now I don't know the synopsis with his son. This is the son who has cerebral palsy.
Just beginning, he beat the odds, and those who witnessed it all still call it a miracle.
She had actually had 4 bullets in her. She was shot at 5 times.
A desperate 911 call in the middle of chaos captures how Sharika Adams saved her son.
To me, she gave her life to save her baby. And that's just the best that any mother could do.
Sharika's own mother, Sandra Adams, still marvels at the sacrifices made in those critical moments. Chancellor Lee Adams was delivered by emergency C-section just in time.
He was very dependent on her for his for maintaining his oxygen levels, and because babies get that from the placenta.
His mother had lost a lot of blood, depriving him of oxygen. Soon after he was born, Dr. Dosha Hickey took over his care.
At the beginning, he was not able to breathe on his own. He needed help. He had a seizure early on, but he only had one.
She says within weeks, Chancellor Lee proved he was going to survive the violence that brought him into this world much too soon.
We knew he was a fighter, and you saw it because he came off the respirator. He cried, he took a bottle. He was a feisty little thing and would cry, and you look at him and you sort of, he was a sweet little boy. I mean, that was the best way to describe him. He was sweet, he was a good baby.
Dr. Hickey was also there when Chancellor Lee was taken to the ICU to be with his mother. It would be the first and last time.
We had gotten word that Sharika was not going to make it, and the family requested that he be taken up to be with her. I will never forget that. No, I'll never forget that moment. And put a blanket and laid him down on her chest and let him be with her for a while. He was quiet and just sort of laid there and didn't cry, didn't do anything.
She says his eyes were wide open and he was peaceful. Sharika was unconscious. She died later that day.
We just haven't lost. And everything that was meant for evil, God has turned it around and made it for good.
Sandra Adams was determined that not only would Chancellor Lee be alive, he would thrive. It's been her mission for nearly 19 years now.
We would go to the neurologist and she would tell me how he's not going to be able to hold a bottle and he's not going to be able to eat and drink, and you know, I can pretty much.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I'm so glad he's doing well. But imagine, let me see if I can pull up before I go. Okay, so we're gonna go into what they saying, what will happen with the child, and then I'm gonna go. Um, and like I said before, I get into this. Listen, what I showed was nothing against Angela Stanton. I'm just saying that people have to be understanding when it comes to women's body and how the body works. Like I said, she a key, honey. That lady is a key. Okay, I'm telling you, but she's a good lady now. I'm just not. It's just no shade. It's just people need to understand that women bodies are different. And every day, people are learning how the body works. Okay. Okay. It says if a pregnant woman is declared brain dead, the baby faces significant risk. The mother's body, though kept alive on life support, can still experience complications that affect the fetus. Affections, dynamic instability, and medication effects on the developing baby. Additional premature delivery and potential congenital health issues can increase the chances of complications. Okay, the baby can be born prematurely. There might be some infections. The mother's body with the body from the mother's body to the child. Anything can happen. Hey, anything could happen. It is possible that the baby will live, but you have to understand that child might have some brain issues. The bill is very extremely high already. Let's see the estimate, and you don't know if this family has it or not. And trust me, the insurance isn't going to cover it. They don't have the funds to continue to cover this. Okay? And we're going to do the math. So I asked, it says, listen, okay, I want y'all to see this. Daily cost of ventilators in the hospital very significant. But here's an overview based on the research. For ICU, it's $2,300 per day. And this cost increased to over $3,900 per day over the fourth day. One study indicate the ventilator charge alone in most hospitals is $400 a day. Then the mean total hospitals for patients require mechanical ventilation is around $34,000 per stay. Well, what is 34,000 times 9? Let's see. 9 months. Okay. Might as well say 8.5. 9 weeks. 8.5. Might as well say that because she's about to hit 8 months to 10 weeks. Let's see. That's $289,000 that this family has to come out of their pocket. And only the insurance company will pay for a certain percentage of that. Okay? So that's $173,000 already. Well, if a bill, let's see, if a bill is $289,000, okay, how much would medical insurance cover? Is it possible to give a precise answer? So you are responsible for paying 100% of the cost until you meet your deductible. So her deductible could be 20 to what they say will probably cover the other 80%. So imagine you're doing this, you're forcing these people to pay $231,200 because you, as a state, feel like this woman should be kept because of a bill that was passed. If I was her family, Adriana Smith's family, I would get ready to do a lawsuit. I would have the state of Georgia in the United States cover that bill. She can do that. I would take it there. I would have the state of Georgia cover that bill. I would sue them. They would cover my cost for the lawsuit, and I would have them cover that for that bill because that is ridiculous. How do you know that's what they have? So you're making decisions to keep money in your pocket or to keep something going because you feel like having more children will help the economy by basically saying they can work for people and put money in their pocket. You will be covering the bill. All right, you guys, it's going on 2 hours. I hope you guys enjoy this live. Don't forget, I will be live tonight for Lit Live Saturday. Listen, this is my message to, and I'm going to talk about DDG and Hallie and how this ties into this. This is why I say enjoy your 20s. Don't have no children. I don't care how in love you are. I don't care how sweet, talk, and charm a person is. We are in a crisis where if she was a regular person, I'm going to be honest with you and say she had a mental issue. How would she have, and this is a problem I have with the whole of America. We look at mental things, but we look at toxicity. We can praise Krishan hitting Blueface up the head. It's entertaining, right? And then we done got people used to toxicity, but we're not giving these young people a chance to date properly. We're not teaching them that. We're not giving advice on that. And another thing that the Black community in the United States of America, a community as a whole, look at mental health and for somebody crying out as a problem. And we really need to, I want you guys to go watch Straw if you haven't. We really need to utilize people mental health. We do. Just because they look okay don't mean they're okay. We need to understand there are narcissists and there are mothers that are narcissists that raise narcissistic children. I want my young people to take heed from this situation with DDG and Hallie. Do not have children. The cost is effective. There are no more two-parent households and they're forcing y'all to have it. Do not have children. Enjoy your 20s. You have the right to hire and fire. Don't think you should get married because you're being pressured to get married. You don't. Get to know the person you are dating. I don't care how much they shower you. Look at the situation with Jane Doe and Diddy. She got showered with gifts for the past 3 months and then all of a sudden she became a sex worker. Huh? He treated her like a cum bucket for his entertainment. But then when he got with the other woman, she wasn't. We need to teach self-esteem. We need to teach mental health, and we need to teach these children how to date properly. That is a problem. We need to let them know just because you cute, listen, start buying your children things, start taking them out, doing all that so nobody won't woo them into that. Because that is a problem as well. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this slide. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I will see you guys tonight at 8:30. Later. I know y'all hear my dog girlfriend child. Just listen to her.